What I'll do over the next couple of moments is just take you through the quantitative research phase that we've got lined up and some of the really exciting insights that will be coming out of this. Now, what you can see here is essentially just a snapshot of some of the contents that we will be asking consumers about when we field this study. Now, the key point here is to bear in mind this is by no means exhaustive, but it's worth bearing in mind that all of the contents that we're asking consumers about have been very much derived from all the rich and deep insights that have come out of the qualitative phase which Esther has been running. Now, what we'll do over the course of this study is quantify consumers' behaviors and attitudes, the drivers and barriers as well, not only with regards to film, but also with regards to a number of other forms of visual entertainment, such as television series, other television content, like your type of one-off programs, the news, and so forth. Online video clips, very importantly, playing a big part in our lives nowadays, particularly among certain demographics, and video gaming as well as a form of visual entertainment. And this will also help us to identify how all of these things vary across life stage, because we have seen in the qualitative phase that there are very key differences in terms of how people interact with visual content. We saw examples of parents whose entire viewing activities have been very much dictated by their children. So we're really excited about having this data source and having the ability to delve into these sorts of things. Now, another key component of this study is that we're also inviting a subset of respondents to record all of their viewing activities when it comes to visual entertainment over the course of a week. And out of that will be coming a lot of exciting insights, which I'll share with you in a moment's time. But first of all, what I would like to do is to talk to you in a few words about the audience segmentation that we're going to do. What we will do is we will be segmenting film audiences by looking for discrete groups of people in terms of their behavior, so how often they watch film, how they do so, in fact, across which platforms and screens, and based on their attitudes as well to gain that additional richness in the segments. And the aim is to identify really different typologies of consumers and profile them on a number of key metrics. For example, there may be people who attitudinally are very much into film. They love film, they're engaged by it, they hold very strong opinions about it, and they may watch it quite often at home and elsewhere, but they don't go to the cinema. So what's important for us here is to really ask questions around how can we get them more engaged with cinema. Is it just a question of the price of the ticket? It might not be. So what are the other types of barriers that we can tackle to try and turn them into more sort of high engagement people? So the key point here is that we will have information around the size and the engagement of these segments, and that we're going to be able to build strategies and a strategic toolkit that allows us to gain a deeper understanding around how we can move people from one segment to another, from a low engagement to a high engagement segment, from a low value to a high value segment when it comes to film. And finally, we will also be able to put a time spent figure against this. And this is something that we're really very excited about, because this time spent figure is a key output of the diary study, and it's made possible by the fact that we're taking people through this week-long process of recording their viewing activity. Now, you see this 15 hours here, that's purely illustrative, and the key point is that we're going to be able to report on the total time spent engaging in any of these major types of visual entertainment. And not only that, but for the very first time, we will have a unique single-source measure of time spent across film within the context of all these other types of visual entertainment, video gaming, and so forth. And importantly, we will also be able to apportion that total time spent across different devices, different screens, different platforms, genres, and much more. So it will be very rich and really enable us to slice and dice data in ways that we haven't been able to do before. And the beauty of all of this is also that we can view the composition of this example overview here, not only at the total level, but we can look at key groups of people. For example, have an overlay like this for each of the segments and different life stages as well, because other research has taught us, and in fact the qualitative phase has taught us, that viewing and engagement with visual content varies so much across life stage. Younger people who may still live at home and have got a lot of time on their hands, that total time spent figure will be higher, perhaps skewed towards video clips and away from live linear television. Parents of young children, for example, very time poor, and we may see differences in the viewing habits there as well. And I can certainly attest to that myself. I've got a 17-month-old at home. Over the last 17 months, my total time spent has come down. I've spent about 4 hours watching films, 0 of which were at the cinema, but instead my YouTube consumption has gone up because I watch so many Disney songs. So, and these are really just some of the examples in which this will be very much a very powerful data source because we can put all these different lenses over it, the segments, life stages, and so much more than that.